Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about the signs of a partner that may not be a good PMDD partner for you. So this is something that I really had to come to terms with recently in my journey with PMDD relationships, and that is not every partner is a good partner for you because you have PMDD. And that's really hard to recognize and admit, because what I've had to basically do is understand that it is a possibility that a partner could just not be a good PMDD partner, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. And what I've learned from counseling hundreds of PMDD partners is that it takes a certain kind of person, a certain kind of individual to be a supportive PMDD partner. And I know a lot of times there's a lot of frustration and there's a lot of complaining and saying, like, I want my partners to be a good PMDD partner. I want them to be a supportive PMDD partner. But what we have to recognize is being with someone who has PMDD is not easy. Being with someone who has PMDD is not for everyone. And I used to really believe that it was for everyone. I used to believe that the love that I gave my partner during my follicular days and during my good days was enough to sustain a relationship, that I was enough to sustain a relationship, that I was good enough outside of my PMDD symptoms, that, my goodness could kind of override a lot of the traumatic things that happen when you have PMDD. But I've noticed that there is a specific type of individual that the PMDD is just not going to work for them. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. And you probably should. This is so hard because I try not to advise breakups. I'm all about not breaking up with your PMDD partner. But what I have seen is that trying to be in a relationship with this type of person makes your PMDD harder, and it makes it harder for your partner to exist within the relationship and get their needs met. So I'm going to go over what those signs are that you may be with a partner that struggles more in the relationship because you have PMDD. Now, granted, every partner has moments where it's hard for them, where, there's things that they don't like about PMDD. But when you're in a relationship with this type of person, I've seen it fail so many times. I've seen it fail with myself. I've seen it fail with private clients. I've seen it fail with a lot of the individuals that I interviewed with my dissertation. And it wasn't for a lack of effort from the partner that has PMDD. And I feel like I spent so much time trying to force relationships with these types of individuals. And I was almost attracting these types of individuals without really recognizing it. And now when I'm looking back and I'm seeing the pattern, I'm like, wait a minute. And I think it really came from when I looked at dating. I looked at, okay, I don't want to repeat cycles, right? If I notice a certain type of relationship isn't working for me, when I go to choose another partner, what are the things that I need to be looking out for? What are the things that did not work? What type of partner, do I need? So in my search of finding out what type of partner I needed, I was doing the same thing for my private clients and saying, okay, these are the characteristics of a partner that you do need. And then it was like a big light bulb went off of, okay, and these are the characteristics of a partner that you do not need, that do not go well with someone who has PMDD. They just don't go well because we have PMDD. And it doesn't mean that we're the problem. It just means when individuals have these types of characteristics, when you go into PMDD, it is absolutely going to be a problem. And so I'm going to go over that. And I don't want to label it initially. I want you to really understand the meat of it, because I don't like to generalize things. If you're my private client, everything is custom and catered to you and your individual partner, you and your individual relationship. So I don't really give out cookie cutter, advice on your relationship. I need to get to know you. I need to get to know your partner in order for me to really help you in your PMDD relationship. But when I do have patterns of things, that's what researchers do. As a doctor, we go by research and we go by patterns again and again and again. If I see a commonality between PMDD partners, meaning the partners that suffer with PMDD and the partners that don't, then I can advise you and say, okay, this is a commonality with all individuals or most individuals that have PMDD. You probably should avoid being with partners who have these characteristics. And what I want to preface before we go over them, if your partner has these characteristics and you're thinking, oh no, they have these characteristics, we need to break up, I want to advise you to get help before you immediately throw away the whole partner. It's just like when a partner finds out that you have PMDD, they could easily say, oh no, they have PMDD, they have this disorder, I'm going to throw away the whole partner, I can't be with them. You don't want your partner to approach you like that because they figure out that you have PMDD. This is the same thing. This is an actual disorder. And these are the characteristics of it. But I want you to just recognize how it's correlated with PMDD and why it is almost a disaster to be with someone who has these qualities. And a lot of times you may be thinking it's you, but it's actually the partner that you chose to be with. And I have chosen partners that have these characteristics, and I have suffered immensely. I have counseled clients who've chosen partners that have these characteristics, and they've suffered a lot. And it's not that, they didn't love the person. It's not that they didn't care about them. It's just when you have PMDD and you have these characteristics, it's just virtually impossible. So I'm just going to stop beating around the bush at this point, because I feel like I'm like, you're like, what is this person? So let's get into the first characteristics. I'm going to give you the 10 characteristics of the individual that may not be the best for you if you have PMDD. And if you, again, you have free choice, you have free will, you are a grown adult. If you choose to be with someone who has these characteristics, even after I've told you about what that can cause for your PMDD relationship, for your life with having PMDD, it's completely up to you. And I will completely support you with private sessions and all of the things in any way that I can. But I don't want you to do things that make it harder for you. And it's almost like I wish someone was there to tell me this, because I would not have entered into a lot of these situations and thought that I could change it. Do I regret any of the partners that I've had in the past? Absolutely not. I would not have the experience that I have. I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have had I not been with each and every PMDD partner that I've had in the past. So I never look back at, past partners with regret. I look back at them actually with gratitude and a lot of appreciation for that part of my journey. And also that part of my journey that's led me to being able to help so many of you. So let's get into the first characteristic, and that is a lack of empathy. So what this looks like in your PMDD relationship is you're trying to explain to your PMDD partner that you're struggling in PMDD. You're trying to talk to them about certain things that you feel like you can't do. Like maybe you don't want your partner to touch you while you're in PMDD, or maybe, the loud noises, the misophonia, the sensitivity to noise, it bothers you when you're in PMDD. And, there's little things that happen in your day-to-day life, and you're trying to explain it to your partner and saying, these are the things that trigger me when I go into PMDD. And you're expecting this level of genuine support from your partner, and you're expecting this level of understanding of being like, oh wow, babe, I'm so sorry that you are struggling with this area of PMDD, or I'm so sorry that this is triggering you, or I feel bad that you're having to go through this. I feel bad that certain things that I'm doing are triggering you. That's never my intention. This is the type of response that you expect to get, right? You expect to tell your partner, hey babe, this particular thing is bothering me. I'll give you an example. When I used to complain to my PMDD partner about their snoring, what I was expecting was, I'm going to let my partner know what my trigger is, and they're going to respond with a level of empathy to say, wow, that must be horrible that you're suffering with that. What can I do to help? That is the mantra that I was expecting. That must be horrible that you're suffering with this. What can I do to help? That is what empathy is. Empathy means that they're taking themselves out of their own experience. They're putting themselves in the mindset of what you're going through, and they're looking to do something about it. They're looking to help you suffer less because of something that they may be causing subconsciously, because you're not necessarily blaming them. You're just letting them know this is a trigger, right? And so I noticed a lot of times when I would give, homework to my private clients, and I would say, this is what you need to do in order to tell your partner what's going on so that they're very much aware. My assumption was, if you have a partner who is empathetic to you struggling with PMDD, is that when you explain to them what they're doing to trigger you, they are going to offer genuine support and understanding that you're not saying that they're the problem, but the fact that they're doing something to trigger you, they're willing to shift and change their behavior, at least while you're in PMDD, to cause you less suffering. That is what an empathetic person would do. They're not going to take it personally and think that you're trying to attack them, right? They're going to think, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling me what it is that I'm doing to trigger you. I'm not going to do it again. And so I'm going to understand that this is causing you to suffer, and I'm going to shift my behavior because I want to be with you. I desire to be with you. I desire to be in this relationship. This is a struggle that you're going through, and I'm going to help you, suffer less by shifting my behaviors, because I'm not doing this on purpose. With this type of individual, they struggle to empathize with their partner and their needs and supporting you and understanding you, because they're immediately feeling attacked. They're immediately feeling like, I guess I'm the bad guy. So a person with a lack of empathy is immediately going to turn it around on you, and they're going to make it seem like you're the problem. You bring up something towards them, and they're going to immediately say, oh, well, I'm doing this. I'm causing you to not be able to get sleep. But what are you doing? What about this? You snore too, or you do this and you do this, and I have to put up with you, you and your moods and you and your mood swings. Like, what about you? So this is when we come to a situation where it becomes tit for tat, this for that. Instead of them empathizing and just addressing the struggle that you're saying, they're looking to turn it around on you so that there's a lack of accountability for what they're actually doing to contribute to your suffering. They don't want to be seen as the bad guy. They're most likely individuals who have this disorder are going to tell you, I guess I'm just the bad guy. This is a common statement that they make, because they're making it seem like you addressing any triggers that you have in the relationship results in them being the bad guy, like they are the problem. And number two is the self-centeredness, right? So individuals with this disorder that are probably not good for you because you have PMDD, they're primarily focusing on their needs, their desires, what they want out of the relationship. I want physical intimacy. I want attention. I want validation. I want all of these things. And they're feeling justified in asking you for it. Even if you're suffering, they're neglecting and dismissing your needs. They're saying, okay, if I tell you as my partner, like, hey, I need some rest, I need some sleep, I need some space, I need some time, which a lot of times you are going to need when you're in PMDD. This individual is not going to care that you need space and time to process what you're suffering with in PMDD. They're not going to care. They're going to be thinking about you not meeting their needs. Why are you not showing up in a way that they want you to show up in the relationship? They're going to be genuinely pissed off at you because you're going internal, because you're choosing to focus more on you than you're choosing to focus more on them. Because in their minds, there's this level of self-centeredness where they are the prize. They are the ones that you should be focusing all of your attention on in the relationship. They're not worried about your needs and your desires. They're almost looking at your needs and desires as a distraction from them getting their needs met. They are looking like you need to be focused, all of your attention and centered on them, regardless of how much you are suffering in PMDD. So this is why I say it's really hard to be with a partner like this, because you're going to immediately feel guilty for taking the time and space that you need in PMDD, because they're going to make you feel guilty about it. They're going to make you feel like you're not showing up in a way that they need, and you're in this relationship and you have this obligation to being with them. And so they're going to immediately think, wow, I guess you're just not going to be there for me. They're going to victimize themselves and make themselves feel like everything that they're suffering with is because of you. And if it wasn't for you suffering in PMDD, they would be able to get their needs met. So this is when it goes into number 3, which is the manipulative behavior. They're going to use a lot of manipulation tactics. And the reason why they're going to use a lot of these manipulation tactics is to ultimately get their needs met. And what are their needs? Attention, affection, and validation. So one of their manipulation techniques is gaslighting you, making you feel like you're the problem, pretty much triggering you. And then when you respond to them, like they're triggering you, they're triggering you, they're triggering you, and you're holding it in, you're holding it in, you're holding it in. They're triggering you on purpose because they're wanting a reaction out of you. And then when you finally explode, when you finally go off on them, then they say, wow, I can't believe you would talk to me like that. I can't believe that you yelled at me like that. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you left me. I can't believe. They're literally gaslighting you into thinking that you're the problem. They're not addressing the fact that they were the ones maliciously, triggering you again and again and again, and knowing that you're triggered. So here's the thing. With a supportive PMDD partner, when they notice that they're triggering you, they see the difference in your body language and they immediately stop it. They don't continue on doing something that they know is causing you to suffer. So when they're gaslighting you, they're doing it to create this sense of superiority, like you're the one with the problem, you're the one with PMDD, and I'm not. I would never stoop to that level and do that. Another manipulation technique is love bombing. And I've experienced this so many times where your partner will tell you you're the best thing, like you're the rock, you're everything to them. You're amazing. You're the most, they love and adore you and all of these things. They tell you that in one instance, and then in the next instance, they take it away and say that you're manipulative and you're controlling and you're abusive and you're all of these things. So the love bombing is manipulating you to go to a different place and to have a different response towards them. If they're wanting attention from you, if they're wanting, again, what do they want? Attention, affection, and validation. When they're wanting those 3 things, they're going to start to love bomb you so that you can reciprocate that kind of behavior towards them. So love bombing looks like this. They're texting you all day. I love you. I love you. I love you. When they're texting you, I love you, they're texting you, I love you, so that you can say it back. When they're texting you that you're amazing, they're texting you so that you can say it back. The goal of sending you those text messages, the goal of saying those things to you, the goal of getting you those cards, those flowers, those things are not for you. They're so that you can reciprocate that kind of behavior towards them. They're still seeking their own personal needs. They're asking you to mirror them. They're asking you, if I do this, you do this. So you become accustomed and almost programmed to give them what it is that they want, because they know that now you're programmed to where if they do it, you do it. If they text you loving things, you text it back. So then they end up getting their supply. They end up getting what it is that they need. They're training you to meet their needs because they know that you're a good person. So these types of individuals, they don't go after people that aren't genuinely good people, right? Because a lot of people that are, I'm not going to say that they're not good people, but a lot of people that are very kind of cutthroat with it. Like they notice this behavior and they're immediately are like, I'm not dealing with this. They'll immediately break up with you. They'll immediately cut you off. They're not looking for those people. They're looking for these people that are morally sound. And religion is one of the things that they will kind of target because they want someone that has a moral background to say, I'm going to treat my partner good. They want someone that maybe either they use religion or you come from a good family to where relationships are really important. So you're going to stick in it longer. Or you really, really want to be in a relationship and you've gone through a lot of trauma in your past. So they're choosing someone that really, really wants this, right? They need someone who really, really wants to be in this PMDD relationship because that is what is going to keep you accepting this behavior. Because if you don't have anything to lose, if you're fine, you're like, oh, no, I don't really even need to be in a relationship, then you're immediately going to dismiss them and cut them off. But for someone that really wants to be in a relationship, for someone where religion is really important as far as being there for their spouse or their partner, they're going to be with that person because they know that you're going to accept this behavior a lot longer than you should. Because you have another entity that is showing you and telling you that this is what you're supposed to do, right? So the next characteristics of this individual that might not be the best for you because you have PMDD is they have a constant, oh my gosh, this is so huge. They have a constant need for admiration and validation. They need a lot of attention and praise. They need you to tell them that they're the best, that they're amazing, and they need it quite frequently. Now, I'm not saying that any individual doesn't want to hear that they're amazing or that they're a good lover or that they're a good partner. Of course, everybody wants to hear this, but this type of individual wants to hear it excessively and regardless of what your situation in your PMDD relationship looks like. Meaning, regardless if you're fighting or you're arguing, they still want to hear this excessive attention and praise. They still want to be around you. You could be fighting and arguing off of things that they've said and done to trigger you, and they're still going to want to be around you because you're their source. You're the person that is giving them the attention and the praise that they need. It almost makes them feel better immediately when you give it because you're their person. You're their person that they're getting everything from. So when they have that constant need for admiration and validation, the reason why this is not good for someone who has PMDD because they have the inability to self-soothe. They're not able to self-soothe themselves when you have moments where you need to isolate because you're in PMDD and you're really suffering. If you're really suffering in PMDD and you really feel like I just need some time to myself, I need to journal, I need to exercise, I need to go outside on a walk, I need to be by myself because I'm suffering in PMDD and I can't really think about what the other person needs or what the other person wants because I'm so overwhelmed with my symptoms. This may not be a good person for you because when you go to take that space and that time, they're going to be upset with you because you're not giving them that constant admiration and validation. You are going to begin to feel pressured to give them that admiration and validation, even when you don't feel like it. When you start doing this and giving them that admiration and validation, because you'll get to a point where you know what they need. You're like, I know that they need me to tell them that I love them all day long. I know that they need me to give them a lot of affection. I know that they need to, they need for me to give them a lot of gratitude. You know that they need those things from you. So you do them even when you don't feel like doing them. And then you're gonna develop a lot of bitterness and resentment towards your PMDD partner because they're making you do something that you don't genuinely feel like doing. You don't genuinely feel like admiring them, giving them validation, listening to them talk about their problems, even though you're suffering, giving them that attention, praising them for being such an amazing person, such an amazing partner. You're not going to feel like it, but you're going to do it anyway because that's what it's going to take in order to keep the peace within your relationship. And you're going to become very resentful, very resentful. And so this is why this partner may not be a good partner for you because there are going to be times where you go into PMDD and you're going to need that space. You're going to need that time. You're going to need that space to self-regulate, to be alone and really manage your symptoms. But we're going into number 5, and that's that sense of entitlement. So this type of individual may want you to give them special treatment, right? And what I mean by special treatment, it goes back to that attention, affection, and validation. Even if you cut off everybody else and you've taken this time for yourself, they want to be the one that you're going to open up to. You're going to be there for them. You're going to force yourself to show up for them in a way that they need because they feel entitled. They feel like they're your person, they're your partner. So regardless of how much you're suffering in PMDD, you're going to be able to put that to the side to be there for them to meet their needs. They're not going to be considering that you're suffering in order to meet their needs. Remember, we talked about that lack of empathy. They want special treatment. They want to be shown that you're putting them up on this pedestal, right? That you're saying that they're amazing. And then if you ever don't give them what it is that they need, that attention, affection, and validation, they're going to get resentful towards you and they're going to get angry towards you. And they're going to think about, why is she not giving me this attention and affection and validation? Oh, it's because of PMDD. They're going to be bitter and resentful towards PMDD. Like they're going to be upset that you have PMDD, even more upset than you are, right? Because none of us ask to have PMDD, but this partner is going to attack PMDD and feel like they need to get rid of it. They're going to go through drastic measures to try to get rid of your PMDD, even though that's not a thing. And they're going to become angry at you because you have PMDD. Even if they don't outwardly say it, they're going to be in that place of feeling like, why can't she just go back to how she was when she was in her good days? Why can't she go back to how she was when she was in her follicular phase? Because they're going to be remembering that you have the capability to be open and loving and affectionate and meet their needs. And they're going to become bitter towards PMDD because that's the thing that's stopping you. So they may get into this mode where they're excessively trying to fix you. They're trying to fix you. They're trying to, what can I do to get rid of her PMDD? Because if I get rid of her PMDD, then I get my needs met. So the reason for getting rid of your PMDD won't necessarily mean that they're just trying to end your suffering. They're trying to get rid of PMDD so that they can get their needs met again. So that's when they go to this grandiosity, right? They have this inflated sense of importance. They feel like they are more important than they really are. They're exaggerating their accomplishments. They're exaggerating their talents. They're expecting you to view them as this higher entity. They're looking at their characteristics, right? They may use their career. Look at where I am in my business. You know, look at what I'm able to do. Look at how I can help you. You know, look at, I'm at this level and you're at this level, right? There's this comparison and really this exploitation of their status in the world. They'll start to puff up a lot of things that they've done, a lot of achievements and talents, and they're wanting you to sit there and listen to it and make them feel more important. And not saying that they're not important, not saying that their achievements and their talents are not valid, but they're wanting you to consistently praise them on them to make them feel superior, to make them feel better than other people. And then the next thing that they can do is this exploitation of others. So they may exploit you and your qualities, right? We're talking about their qualities before. Now we're talking about you as a person, what you can bring to the table. You may be individuals who have these characteristics go after two specific types of individuals. You're either really beautiful or you're really smart, and even a combination of both. They need something that they can brag about, right? They want to brag to their friends and family that they're with this person that's so beautiful. They want to brag that, you know, they're with this person who's so smart and their accomplishments and their status in life. If you become someone that doesn't have these characteristics anymore, meaning if you change in your level of beauty or you change in your level of intelligence, that's a problem because they're exploiting you. They're needing you to make sure that their status looks higher because they're associated with you. And the next thing is they have a difficulty with criticism. Whenever you bring up something towards them, they react with anger. If you say, hey, babe, you did this and this triggered me, they're reacting with anger, they're reacting with defensiveness, or they're withdrawing from you. They're immediately getting angry every single time you bring up something that they've done. because they're feeling like, oh, they're turning it around on you. When I say getting defensive, you try to talk to them about something that they'd have done to trigger you, and they're automatically going to turn it back on you. Well, what did you do? You did this and you did this, and it's not just me. They don't want to feel alone in taking accountability for any of the issues that you have in the relationship. They feel much better if you're both messed up versus they're messed up for some of their actions. Are we expecting our partners to be perfect? Absolutely not. But if we bring it to their attention and they're not willing to recognize it and say, yeah, you're right, I did do that, I apologize, and move forward, they're not willing. Individuals like this are not willing to do that. So that's why it may not be good in your PMDD relationship, because you're going to start walking on eggshells. You're going to start feeling like, I can't bring up any trigger that I have with my partner, because as soon as I do, it's going to start with anger, and then we're going to end up arguing, and then they're going to get defensive, and we're going to end up in this cycle. Then I'm going to say something that I regret, then I'm going to feel guilty. So you're going to go through the same process again and again and again, and it's going to make it really, really hard for you to sustain the relationship if you're never able to tell your partner what they're doing to trigger you. Because what I tell with my private clients is, you need to be able to address your triggers with your partner. Well, if you're with someone that you can't address your triggers and you have to kind of cover it up and pretend like everything's great, this is probably not the best relationship with you and PMDD. And the last thing is, number 10 is, this type of individual will sell you a dream. They'll have these unrealistic fantasies of what the relationship is supposed to look like, and they'll hold on to them as long as possible. They're going to tell you the relationship, they may want the white picket fence. They want to portray to others that they have this happy relationship, and they want to portray to other people that they're the golden couple, they're the power couple, all of these things. And they're wanting you to come on board with that. So they may have unrealistic expectations towards you as their partner to fulfill that fantasy. They don't want you to be open and honest about, if you're arguing and you're bickering, and they still want to go out on couples date night. And so if you say, hey, babe, I don't want to, go out right now because, I want to actually address the issues, they're not going to want to address the issues. It's more important for them in order to actually show up and be that power couple. And so I know that you're probably wondering, what type of individual is this that I shouldn't be with if I have PMDD? And this is near and dear to me, because I've been with many of these types of partners, and I've literally tried to make it work. I've counseled many of these types of partners, and I've literally tried everything to try to make it work. And it literally caused both partners to, suffer even more. And I just said, it's not a good fit. And I came to that conclusion not easily, because I didn't come to the conclusion easily with myself, and I didn't come to that conclusion easily with my partners, because I said to myself, maybe if I didn't have PMDD, that maybe this wouldn't be an issue. And I said this about my private clients. If you didn't have PMDD, then this probably wouldn't be an issue. But when you are with a partner who has this, which is the narcissistic personality disorder, otherwise known as NPD, this is a diagnosable mental health condition defined by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5. And this is what all of our doctors, psychotherapists, therapists, actually go by when we're going to diagnose people. And it's made by the American Psychiatric Association. So NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, goes through all of these characteristics that we just talked about in depth. And it's this persuasive pattern. It's this pattern of literally having these characteristics that we talked about before again and again and again. And when they have these characteristics, it is virtually impossible for you to be with someone who has PMDD, because it is the antithesis. It is the opposite of the type of individual that you're going to need when you have PMDD. Because when you have PMDD, there are certain characteristics that you need because of the way that you're struggling, because of the way that you're suffering with your PMDD symptoms. And so because they're self-centered, because they have the lack of empathy, it's going to cause you to not get your needs met, and you're not going to meet your partner's needs as well. And so this is why I really went through what it is that I can do to really help you in this situation. If you find out that you're in a relationship with someone that has narcissistic personality disorder, and you're in that place of really struggling, I don't want you to feel like it's on you. Like, you're a bad person because you can't make this work. So in my PMDD survival guide called Surviving Premenstrual Dysphoric Disorder with a Narcissistic Partner, in this book, it is literally going to give you the signs of if you're with a partner like this, and it's also going to give you tools about what to do about it. So it is possible through my courses and my private sessions where you can get to a point where you can be in a relationship with someone who has these characteristics, right? And I'm not saying stay in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. Absolutely not. But I'm saying there's individuals that can have narcissistic tendencies. They can have narcissistic qualities and personality traits that can cause you to suffer, like I've been talking about. But there are things that you can do about it. But if you leave this untreated, if you know that you have this situation going on where what I'm describing to you, you're in a relationship with someone and you leave it untreated, not only are you going to suffer, but your partner's going to suffer, and you're not going to be in the relationship that you desire and deserve. And you're going to be spinning your wheels trying all of these different things when it's really the narcissistic personality disorder, the narcissist. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, there are certain things that you don't have. And there's certain ways that it's going to cause you. That's why I call it the PMDD survival guide, because you literally have to survive a relationship with someone who has narcissistic personality disorder. It is a survival thing. And if you've been in that relationship, you know that you feel like that. You feel like you're just trying to survive. You're just trying to make it. So in the PMDD survival guide, you're going to be giving tools on what that looks like and tools on what you can do about it so that you don't consistently suffer and so that your partner doesn't consistently suffer. So until next time, make sure that you get that book, The PMDD Survival Guide, Surviving Premenstrual Dysphoric Disorder with a Narcissistic Partner. Make sure that you get this book so that you can get the tools that you need, and you can also get the course that you can go through with your partner. We got this. Love you. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.